Please help me get this out by the power of the Holy Spirit. What did I do so wrong? What did I do to make you hate me so? What was it I really did to you? You know, it begs the question when I never hurt anybody, nobody in my family, not my first, second, or third husband. I didn't do nothing, man. I was innocent. But getting punished under a load-bearing, immense... And then they turn around and hate me for leaving after they put so much on me until I collapse completely. How much can you take in punishment? You keep going back for more, back for more, back for more. And then I'm hated for no reason. They didn't even say boo to people and they got an attitude. What is it about me they hate so much, Joey? That I can't even get a straight answer. He's doing his medicine. He has a certificate for that.
I don't know why. I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Why do they hate me so?
I never could get an answer for them. Nobody, I questioned them. And they never could give me an answer. There ain't no reason they should hate you. And like when your son told, I hate you because I made you go to church. That's a stupid reason to hate your mama.
Not true. But exactly. I mean, what did I really do? What did I really do? What did Laurel Ann Moore Ryder Chirp Bowers Ledoux do to offend you? That I'm just telling the truth, and here we go again with the truth, the way and the life. Here we go again. I've told the truth. I didn't lie. Maybe I said something that offended you. Maybe I got your goat.
Yeah, you got the goat. Yeah,
Maybe I got your goat. You know, did I get your goat? Did I hit a nerve with the truth that maybe I reflect in you? Do I show what you see in me is in you? That's what's true. Okay? I'm just a reflection. I'm a reflection like this light on the water right there on the candle, on the wax. I'm a reflection of yourself, is what you see. And I never said boo to thee. People come out of the blue to attack me, and I never did it. I might look threatening with my left eye or something, like Violet right there. Well, that's her right eye. You know, or, you know, like the lioness in my amethyst right there, who is enjoying the moon, actually. Going out tonight for the full moon in Sagittarius. I didn't make the date stamp yet, I don't think. I didn't. Oh hey, this is interesting. May 31st, 2026. At exactly, let's see, 1:13 p.m. on the 31st. Full moon in Sagittarius. Absolutely. So it does beg the question, and me being Aquarius with the Sagittarius moon, this is lighting me up like a Christ mass tree. Because all Christ did was tell the truth too. He enlightened them, didn't he, dude?
Yeah.
He enlightened them, didn't he?
Yeah, what happened? They lightened him, you crucified his ass.
Well, yeah. Confirmation. Can I have one of your smokes, man? I need a cigarette, old man. Hey, old man, give a cigarette, old man.
I got rid of this old man. Old woman.
Would you sign some papers, old man? It's like Cheech and Chong, the old man.
I
Sign
can't
some
sign the
papers.
paper.
You
I
have
can't.
broken both of my hands. How can I sign some papers if you've broken both of my hands? Yeah, like they made it impossible for Laurel Ann in the judicial system of Colfax County, Taos, New Mexico. And we're going to begin here in, let me see, 433, 434 right now with the story of what happened to my experience, my perception. Total disclaimer, if you don't like about what you're going to hear, then don't hear it, because I've had hearings and I haven't been heard. Yeah. So this forced me to tell the truth and announce it publicly, because otherwise they don't hear me. in my hearings, though I'm pointing out, quite frankly, that they're violating not only the Constitution but the Bill of Rights in so many manifestations, and they're breaking their own laws on me, breaking the laws against me, and not being held to accountability. So when I do a video and I tell it publicly, they don't like it. Why? Because I'm telling it honestly, with integrity, just sitting in my circle of truth with the facts here, not reactively. Because they were supposed to hear what I was saying during the hearings, but yet they didn't hear me. It's a weird, stagnant thing. Here I'm expressing how Michael Rubin Ledoux was breaking the law, fraudulently putting DV orders and stretching them, and them going along with them, because he was a veteran. And he was a real sly dragon. Definitely. Reptilian.
With a little sly rat.
Mm-hmm. And he knew what he was doing, and he set me up as a recon expert, Army 4th ID, 82nd Airborne Ranger, Mountain Division graduate. Tough little.
Tough.
Oh no, he was very wise, because he had me coming and going, and he knew how to manipulate the system. His mother, Tina Martinez Ledoux, was a social worker for Taos, New Mexico for 20 years. She retired quite nicely off of that job.
Why?
And ruined a lot of lives, from what Michael Rubin told me about his mommy. She ruined a lot of lives with her power with CYFD. You bet she did. Mm-hmm. She had a lot of power. So Michael knew, he had the wisdom to know exactly how to get, that's, they were treating him like this and me like that. I'm the little amethyst, all tough and, up against a big dragon and his systems who were behind him. Exactly. I'm little Lady Amethyst there, my little amethyst, tough as chips, up against this big dragon and his, system of airborne and veterans, military, and the judiciary systems and the polices, and how many he didn't influence us. He had it way over me, absolutely, and he knew it. Little empath, and oh my God, he knew how to use those systems against me, didn't he? He was an expert. I got to give him credit for that. He had me exactly where he wanted me. Unfortunately, who paid the penalty? I would say Carlos Cordova, certainly. I would say Jose Andres Trevino, definitely. Paid how much of a cost? My God Almighty. I'm glad I got gigs for this, because this is true. Anyway, yeah, he had it. I mean, he paid. And definitely Laurel Ann Ryder, You don't want to see me. I'm looking through my left eye today, so I'm okay. I'm testifying with my voice. And we are the witnesses, Jose and I, And I'll put me just for a second, for a skippy, okay? It's Sunday, and I have clarity. Absolutely. Back to the picture. Pardon me. Took makeup a lot to get me this haggy-baggy, actually. Just for this little appearance, but you can hear my voice. It resonates. Because the truth resonates, doesn't it? Here we go. Back to the show. Love you, lovies. Okay, so back to the show. Director, creator, guide us so in the heavenly light. We forgot to pray. I can't believe that. But we're always in prayer.
We've been praying.
We're 24/7 prayers. Lifting, and there are archangels and photons are arcs of angels, archangels. They're all here, presently present, definitely. I can see them and hear them perceptually, but you can't, so I'm really sad for you. Jose can sometimes. And they show confirmations and things, synchronicities, numbers, gematrias, little things that get thrown your way that you pay attention to. Rory Duff taught me that. Yeah, he fixed all the ley lines and dragon lines, interconnecting all the energies of the planet. Oh yes, Mama's activated. I am too with the truth, because I'm not sure when we're going to poof. When I came back, Heavenly told me, I can't tell you when you're going to die. But be ready. Absolutely. So, I'm telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me, Heavenly. You too, Joey?
Yep, amen.
Yeah, amen. Hey, you took a note there, son.
And I did.
Of course. Anyway.
And I was to grow.
Yeah, so we're telling the truth here, and that's what offends them so. And they're going to have to get through this video to hear it, though.
Hey, they got to listen to me.
Yeah, you see, because I've had hearings but was never heard. And that's where we're getting at, the judiciary systems in Colfax County and, how they had hearings for me, but they didn't hear. And the only time they hear is when I post it on a video and make it public. That's the only time I'm heard. Because I've testified to Michael Rubin's fraud of my original DV in January of 2019. And he said on the DV request that I intimidated him for his VA check, which is a federal offense. Never, had called the PD, nothing. He said I hit him. I broke things, but didn't have any pictures or any bruises. That's just what he said. Just what he said. Okay, just what he said about me, poor little me. I'm still healing. That's okay. At least, that's all right. Anyway, so after I fled on 12/28/18 for my sanity, because he was hunting me like a dog and I don't mean sexually. He was hunting me, attacking me, accusing me, fighting with me, anything to drive me out the door, to get me out. You'd have to be there. It wasn't fun for this little scout. Being under him for 25 years and him turning my children against me. It's not easy for me. I'm telling the truth. Let me tell you. So I finally fled, hoping I could get my girls out of there eventually and bring them with me. And, had no money whatsoever. Broke with a jacked up left side from head to toe from a real bad fall. And AIDS and HIV, over 55, major disabilities, hypoglycemic, recovering still with gastric issues. I needed surgery then to have my gastric reversed, but I had to wait 2-3 more years for that. Anyway, I was lucky I survived that. But anyway, he left me out like that with no money and no nothing in my car in the snow in Espanola, New Mexico. Anyway, so even though he said I stole all the money, which is another offense that he never reported or had nothing. Anyway, God, that's what he told my landlord. Or my man I bought my home from that burned down to the crisp January 30th of 2026. Yeah, and he mysteriously burned in a fire. But anyway, he was a liar, and he got that DV on me fraudulently. And then just exponentially used the judicial systems to keep it going to his convenience, because I told the truth to them and they didn't hear me. Oh God, it's such a long story. I hate to iterate it, but we said we were going to do this. It's a full moon in Sagittarius, and we're telling the truth, and we're shooting it like an arrow with the facts, the who, what's, when's, where's, and why's. So, I get into the shelter in Espanola, and because we're going from that time to the current. And I appear for the first CYFD hearing, right there in January. And waiting for the hearing to begin, Michael Rubin says to me, he says, CYFD said I had to get April Jolly, said I had to get a DV against you, and oh, by the way, I had to exaggerate it so I could get the girls back faster. And I'm like, what's going on here? A DV, what's that? Oh, domestic violence. What? You'll find out about it later, because the hearing's about to start. I forget what judge was there. I think it was Kenley, but I'm not sure. Pretty sure. Anyway, so So I'm like, okay, and the hearing starts, and there's my attorney, and next thing I knew, I'm at the state police office for the staters. And they did this big investigation, and they interviewed me personally. And apparently they had the wrong impression about me, because they said, I got to put my phone, they said that I had the girls in a cold room and I was beating them with the paddle and all this stuff. And, all this, and I said, well, that's what Michael Rubin said about you. He said you put him in the cold room and you left him without food and you, locked them in this room and you were beating them with the paddle, and oh my God, that was so untrue. But you see, he's saying I abandoned him and this is how I treated my children? No, and it wasn't the truth. So I told the staters the facts, how it really was. You know, I mean, I could iterate it here, but that would take too long. But it wasn't anything what Michael Rubin made it out to be, to the staters, apparently. So I finally get home all the way to Espanola, and I get served this DV. And they kicked me out for it because they said I couldn't be around, if I have a domestic violence, that I couldn't be around kids, even though nothing was ever proven. And so I had to leave. Now, Mr. Romero, I called him at the crisis center, the director, and I said, you know, we had a conversation. He said, oh, no, we didn't have the kind of services you needed. And that's not true. So anyway, yeah, so this DV stuck. I got out in 3 days, even though I was exhausted from hearings and interviews and traveling 3 hours to get home to Espanola again. And I left the shelter, I found a place, and I got my mobile home in Espanola from January to April Fool's Day, 2019. In the meantime, I had gotten off of opioids and all pharmaceuticals. By the way, let's open up that chapter just for a skippy. And my pharmacist and the doctor wanted to put me up on Suboxone rather than my oxycodone, which was 20 milligrams 5 times a day. That's a high dose. Plus, I was on lorazepam, otherwise known as Ativan. Plus, I was on cyclobenzaprine, which is a muscle relaxer and body relaxer. And plus, I was on, what wasn't I on? Antidepressants at some point before that, a little bit. And Ambien at one point. Yeah, it was awful. And so, yeah, they wanted to graduate me to Suboxone. And I had 5 days to detox under my buck, which is on me right now, for good luck. I love my buck. It's a great blanket. And I sweated under this buck for 5 days. And I knew I could do 3, but the Heavenly told me, don't worry, you can do 5. And I'll give you 5 days to ask one question. And I already had the answer, you know, I thought. But now I wanted to ask the doctors, you know, the pharmacist Eric Young and the doctor female at Southwest Care Center in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And Eric, you know, I said, you know, the Heavenly Holy Spirit got me those 5 days. And I said, you know, yeah, we're going to put you up on this, and this Suboxone's going to take care of everything. And, you know, you're going to be great. You're going to love it. You know, it's a ride up. You know, okay. So, well, you know, I said, now, I know what it's like. I have one question only, and that's the Holy Spirit said, you have one question. That's all you're going to need. And yeah, okay, so I follow orders directly as I do from the Elohim, the Heavenly. You know, they enlighten me for some reason. I love them. Thank you. They spared me a lot, actually. So, anyway, so I said, well, if I want to get off that dragon, I know what it was like to get off that dragon of oxycodone and that detox, and if it wasn't for Buck, I wouldn't have got through it. And the Native American children who kept checking on me at the shelter in Espanola as I detox all that chips at me. It was awful. But anyway, so how would it be if I want to get off that chips? You know, off that dragon? Oh, if I want to get off that big dragon, what's that going to be like? Is it, you know, going to be like, that was awful? Or, she goes, oh, that's an excellent question. I said, well, I only got one, so what's it going to be? Oh, yeah, it's a lot harder. It's actually far more addictive. You know, so I had to contemplate. Then I had to make a decision, you know, on the spot, because it was either I was going to take him up on that dragon, or I was going to say not. Yeah. And Eric Young is, you know, I said, well, you know, with the combination I was on, you know, that's, you know, and he says, well, we were just waiting for you now to wake up. Oh, that hit the spot. Right. What? Not? You're waiting for me to wake up? Not? Why would you wait for that? Okay, well, that even pushes it further, doesn't it, really? No lie. Absolutely. Right between the third eye. Yeah, I was on my cannabis then, so my third eye's been open for a long time. Anyway, I had a certificate for that. I have a license for that. Yeah, I have a permit for that. Anyway, since 2013 in Mexico. And it does enlighten you, actually. But anyway, so, yeah, I said, okay. I said, well, if that's the case, then you keep all that chips. I don't want none of it. Hey, my ex-husband's jacking up my life to the point where I'm going to become an alcoholic now. I'm going to trade all that chipset for alcohol and cannabis. That works for me, man. And my AIDS, HIV medicine, you can keep that chips too, because it was given to me courtesy of Anthony Fauci. Sorry, I had a glitch in the system. Forgive me, I'm a work in progress. But anyway, I want to get this truth out while I'm still living, because, we never know when I'm going to get the golden ticket. And I'm telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me heavenly. And the Holy Spirit speaks through me. I'm an instrument. Jose True, it's really cool. And we're Native American too. Shawnee, Tecumseh, ring any bells? And yeah, rebels. But not rebellious because we have anything against anybody. It's against the systems that created this whole mess. The wars and, killing in the name of Christ, and murdering Native Americans because they don't believe the same way that you do, and they don't live the same way you do, and you disagree with them and make them savages when you're actually the murderers. Jesus taught love and compassion. We're supposed to be a nation built on, God or goddess or whatever. It doesn't sound too loving to me when you go and slaughter because they don't believe in what you believe. And the light of Christ is here. You have something to say, Jose?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Oh, about. They say we're a Christian state, yeah, country.
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe that because, shit, they're the most corrupt country in the world.
Unfortunately, with the wars
Yeah.
and the judicial systems, getting back to that, thank you for bringing me back, Joey. Yeah, getting to that. So I got this DV against me. I can't see my children, and when I did talk to my children in Espanola, they were talking about spaghetti and me letting them cook spaghetti on their own, not mentioning any names here. And I said, no, what are you talking about? And April Jolly, caseworker, hung up on the conversation and said, you can't speak to your children again until you have a psychological evaluation, which was going to be a long time. And I had a psychologist all set up to do it that I already had a relationship with, and they did too. And all of a sudden that therapist quit and left the job, and the receptionist felt, I'm so sorry, Laurel, and all of a sudden they got me a psychologist at CYFD in Espanola, and I got the heebie-jeebies because they got my children lying about me about spaghetti, and I couldn't make sense of it at all, outside of the fact that I recognized my children were lying about me and making up stories. Lord knows what I didn't know, right? Well, boy, I came to find out. Anyway, so I lost my rights as a parent to even speak to my children at that point. No communication whatsoever. But Michael Rubin Ledoux, he got all the visits he wanted to. He got to be around my children, see them all the time, have privileges no other, person would have. Anyway, and April Jolly was all over it and against me. And I promised myself for my birthday, it was my 56th birthday, all alone in Espanola. Lucas wouldn't come to see me. Lucas didn't want me to come home. They did not want me back there. I tried to go back then because I loved them. I wanted to go back to my addiction, according to Carl Jung. I wanted to go back and be that supporting wall, but I knew I couldn't live with Michael Rubin. I wanted to go and get my kids out of CYFD system and take it from there. But that's not what Mike wanted. He wanted me gone, dead, even better. And so I promised myself on my 56th birthday that if by April Fool's Day, April 1st, he didn't have his VA back pay so I could reestablish my life, that I was the fool on April Fool's Day if I believed, and for any other second, that money was coming. I knew he was, and the kids were lying about me and getting in trouble with CYFD. And CYFD wasn't telling me the whole story at all, April Jolly. And so I left New Mexico on April Fool's Day because he lied again, as usual, and withheld everything. And with the DV, kept the property, kept the pets, kept everything. with his domestic violence order. Yeah, Joey. You say it.
Fuck up your credit.
Oh, what it did to my credit. Absolutely. I was a 722 when I left. I had great credit when I left.
Was that
And now, oh my God, I'm lucky I have it up to a 522. I started out at 4 something because of what that chump did. With the vehicle, he promised to pay off for me once he got his VA back pay, which I got nothing. And I lost my RAV4 and I lost my credit score. And I lost everything. And they went all along with him. All the time. Never, and I would have hearings. Okay, so after that, no, at the hearing, at the first one I had with Emilio Chavez in January after, I got the DV at the shelter. I missed the first hearing because I was attacked by a woman. And of course, interruptions. Anyway, so a woman attacked me in my home, and I couldn't make the first hearing, obviously. I couldn't make the first hearing. And so I got another hearing with Emilio Chavez, with Mike, and Lucas was there too, my son. And during that hearing, he already got his restraining order by Emilio, because I missed the first hearing, so Emilio Chavez granted him his restraining order based on his accusations. What he said, like I said. He said I intimidated him for his VA check, federal offense. I hit him, I broke things. Hitting him is another federal offense, abuse of a veteran, elderly with disabilities. Okay, never reported it, nothing. And that I broke things, which no pictures, no nothing, and I never did. And that, of course, he had to exaggerate it. Remember, that's what April Jolly said, or he did. She just told him to get it. Anyway. So, that's what he said anyway. Anyway, so, and I really, I really pray to the heavenly, this is the last time I have to say this story, because I'm getting to the facts in timely order, hopefully. So I had the second hearing with Emilio Chavez where I testified, hey, I never wanted to lose my family. I never wanted this to happen, separate, but Mike is off the chain. He needs help. He needs help, Judge Emilio. And this was, our plans, that this was how it was supposed to go. He's supposed to get his VA back pay to a tune of, a lot of money. And he's supposed to get the help that he needs. We're going to move to San Marcos, Texas, where he's right there at both VAs, Austin and San Antonio. He can get the best of care for his narcissism and PTSD to the maximus. And we can, live on a base or something with other kids that have veterans for dads. And he can get the help he needs so he stops writing me and abusing me and accusing me mercilessly. I said, but that didn't happen. He ordered me out. And he had the kids on his back. Or he had them up the back. I know he had them up the back. That's for certain in hindsight, unfortunately. Anyway, oh, I wish I could lie. But hey, I have to say it as I know it to be now, in retrospect, which is even clearer than hindsight. Retrospect is when you put a spectrogram and you put it in order. So anyway, I explained this to Emilio Chavez, that, he was supposed to pay off my RAV4, if nothing else, now we're here, now we're getting a divorce, now we're separated. I got away from him. He's supposed to give me half of that, and he agreed to give me half of his VA back pay right there in court with Lucas right there. And Lucas was on his side, obviously, where the money was. So, Emilio Chavez reduced the DV. Rather than a year, he put it down to 6 months because of what I told him the truth. Okay. And so I said, okay, I'll give it 6 months and see how it goes, and stay away. Stay away for 6 months. Go get some therapy, like I was doing in Espanola. And so I would. That was the time of these hearings with Amelia Chavez. So, and I should have had a public defender in that, because it should have been dismissed right there. Anyway, I had no representation for this DV. So but that forced me to stay away from my home, my pets, my property, my belongings, everything. I could not go near my home. So it kept me away, at bay, exactly where he wanted me. Exactly where he wanted me. And yeah, I became an alcoholic over it. It was so lonely. And I had to do something to take care of my pain and whatever. Even though my doctors called me insane. The clinic, they thought I was crazy for doing it my way, but I had to. It's the only way. So anyway, yeah. So they extended it for that 6 months. And in that 6 months, February was my birthday the next month, and I made a decision, if that money's not here by April Fool's, and I still tried to go back. I still wanted to go back, go home, clean up the mess, get the kids out of custody, and figure it out. I still wanted to go back. Carl Jung has spoken to this. I still wanted to go back. Anyway, and that just wasn't going to happen, because the narcissist had me exactly where he wanted me. He had me out the way, and all the resources that he could have gotten out of me with disabilities. Anyway, high pitch right there. And we're in these high frequencies and 5Gs and warp speeds that, they've been bringing this on for a long time. But anyway, I don't want to get off track. This has all been a plan. This has all been a plan with these DV orders and families. It's a great way to separate them. With no ability of communication. And I couldn't even do my divorce because he's his own attorney, I'm my own attorney. I'm not allowed to call him. Not in any way, shape, or form with this DV. So that takes away my right to even represent myself, let alone my First Amendment to be able to speak of it, let alone my Second Amendment to protect my ability to say it and express it in my way. That DV takes and any law enforcement that I engaged with, anybody, saw me as a threat because it was a domestic violence order. Therefore, it labels you as violent. And they don't look too kindly on it. You're not allowed any weaponry to protect yourself whatsoever. It takes away so many rights. It's immense. I don't know how many people know this. But anyway. So, yeah, April Fool's Day. Yeah, you're the fool. I tried to keep up my car payments, but it was impossible at what they were. Remember, he was supposed to pay it off, and oh, God. Anyway. So, yeah. It's going to be long. Heavenly, please be patient with me. Thank you so much. Because I really don't want to regurgitate this again. But it has to be done this way because Jose and I were witnesses to all this. I'm getting up to the point where I met Joey now. April Fool's Day, 2019. I split being the fool. Me and my Delphi flew. Because I knew that my kids were in danger. I did a video on Victory, the Sweet channel, where I'm reading the Bible. It's all documented there if you want to go back and see where I was that day. And so yeah, I wasn't going to be the fool again and believe Michael Rubin, and I flew away. And I said, okay, where are you going to go, honey? Where's the air going to take you? Well, I'm going to go south, down to Carlsbad, and visit my dad's brother. Yeah, Uncle Richard Ryder. And his wife Olita, which was another one who hated me for no reason. I never said boo to Olita. And she hated me in the worst way behind the scenes. I don't get it. They hate me, so many. It's the weirdest dagnep thing. We're trying to still come back to that first question at the beginning of the video, come full circle. So anyway, I left right then, and I met Joey 2 weeks later in Converse, Texas. And I had all these bags up on my RAV4, my little Bodo, and with my disabilities, and I was so tired from traveling. And I had little Vicente next to me, my goddaughter's brother. And I didn't know how I was going to get these bags off my RAV4. I'm going, Heavenly, please help me. Send me somebody, send me an angel. Send me help. Please help me with my bags. And right up behind me comes Jose. And what did you say there, Jose?
Can I help you with your bag, ma'am?
Sorry, I'm trying to keep the camera still. Sorry. Say it again.
Can I help you with your bag, ma'am?
Yeah, and his hair is all wild and free,
Dreadlocks and all that.
he's tall and dark. You know, he's a Texan. He gets a lot of sun. And yeah, and Heavenly delivered me right there and sent me Joey or Jose. People ask me, how can you call him so many different names? Well, because I'm just, that's what I do. He's Jose, he's Joey, he's his child because he is a child. Totally. All 13. I love him that way. And then he's Jose, and he's tough, and he's strong, and he sees through everything. And, you know, and yeah, so anyway. Yeah, he swept me off my feet that day. Just being polite. Being a Texas gentleman like his mommy Mary. Bless her heart and soul. Oh gosh, I'm getting tongue-tied, Mom. Sorry. You know, Mother Mary. Yeah. Mary Ellen Gendry Trevino, otherwise known as Maddie Meeks. And beautiful lady who brought forth Joey, who came right in time. Really. And hey, since I, you know, was forced into alcoholism by the situation, my ex-husband especially, and you know what CYFD was doing, hey, we became drinking buddies. He was a drinker too. It was perfect. Both flower children. Me from 63 and him from 61. Or 60. No. Oh gosh, 64. See, I can't even get my numbers right. Forgive me, I'm a work in progress. But yeah, me, 63, Oakland, California. And Joey, 11/24/64 in Chicago. Yeah. And tough as chips, 26 in Clemson. And me from Oakland, California, of all places. Yeah. And so, it, you know, from there, hey, I told them all this stuff I'm going through, how CYFD is treating me, and, you know, and how I got away, and I'm trying to, you know, get on my own. And I was going for a death minister job in San Antonio, starting out $63,000 a year. I could have got off Social Security, but everything started getting skippy at my goddaughter's house. It was weird. Things started changing really fast. And Joey's brother, Lewis, is what? Go ahead.
Because you remember when your goddaughter's brother went across the street, right?
Yeah, they started talking about me
Yeah,
having
go,
AIDS.
something's going down.
Mhm.
Something's going down. You go, how you know that? I go, I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. Soon enough, Lewis came. First, he liked you because he thought you had all the fucking money. I go, I don't go that way.
Mm-hmm.
And when he found out, he started attacking you.
Yeah.
And I go,
I had no money, man. I was broke.
okay, let me finish. And he goes like this. I go, that's how Mike found out.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were saying you was going back to fight for your kids. They heard
Right.
the conversation.
Yeah.
Lewis always, they knew about Mike's number, so Lewis called up. That's how they found out.
Yeah.
How come they found me in Texas?
In New Mexico, in Springer.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the hotel my kids are staying at, actually. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, so Mike was hunting me, and so was Lewis, Joey's brother, hunting him, and they were co-conspiring. They had a whole system, CYFD, and everything against me. Watching every move I made, watching everything I did, and trying to just, you know, just corner me. So anyway, yeah, Joey and I, we took a fly to the Austin Arts Festival. We didn't make it that far. We turned around San Marcos and went down to Big Wells to go get Caroline's things out of Joey's camper and just kind of hang out, check out where he grew up, see Big Wells. And it, you know, it wasn't until then, which was a distance, that we, you know, became good friends, better thans. And, you know, I got a call from my attorney there in
And Lewis.
May. Yeah, and Lewis dropped off all our stuff in Bigwell's and dumped it off. And we're like, what are you know, oh God, it was a mess. Yeah, Lewis was all in it. Oh. Yeah, the whole family. And that's something Joey and I don't understand. That whole families were in on this. Yeah.
And I'm going to say it again.
We still don't get it. Yeah.
Your Lord, Terry Cam.
Yeah,
ID had something to do with it because he stepped down.
Yeah, he abandoned me, you know, when the truth was just, you know, there were so many against me in Colfax County. There was world meditation. I'm with the world because what happens to me happens to everybody. And if these things can happen to me and Joey, they can happen to you too. And I'm just talking about Michael Rubin Ledoux. Okay? And what a rotten chump. That's supposed to be an honorable veteran. Did to his wife and children. And using the systems, confirmation, to do it to me. And it doesn't look too good on the New Mexico judiciary.
They're crooked too.
They're crooked too, obviously, because I was testifying in court. Anyway, we're getting there. Let's go fast forward. So, then Terrence Cam, my attorney, said, I'll take you all the way to the Supreme Court if you're telling the truth, lady. And this lady was telling the truth. I wasn't lying. So, and Joey said, yeah, man, you got the truth right here. You got the proof. All you got to do is we'll go back there and fight for your kids, man. Get what's right. You know, rightfully. And, oh boy. Yeah, against my better judgment, you know, but I was guided by higher authorities, you know, I thought. Really? You know, I thought, hey, man, my attorney's with me, Joey's with me, and it is in my heart. I love my babies. I didn't want to leave them with Michael Rubin ever. But that's, you know, how they wanted it. And they gave him everything. Like
on a silver platter.
On a silver platter. Just like Tina Lever with ATV told me. You know, right from New Mexico. And they did. Exactly. So, yeah, I went back, but I couldn't go back on my own. Gosh, I couldn't haul all my stuff and pack it all. And so Joe came to help me as a friend. Really. And I wasn't going to, you know, how do I say it? I couldn't do it alone, I'll tell you that. Not with my disabilities. No way. Wasn't happening. Not that Mike would care about that. He threw me out like that. Maybe drove me out of my own home and my house and my family. Anyway. So Joey helped me. And we went back with a lot of problems with my RAV4 with Delphi.
Well.
Poor Delphi. And Delphi was cool though. Delphi was digging it. Got to see the world. And anyway. Yeah, I got a lot of smoke to Delphi because Delphi died on Mother's Day 2019.
How the hell he found it? How he found the bird got killed?
Yeah, that's another way that Michael Rubin Ledoux was tracking me. My bird Delphi, I'll share it because that's right in that time frame. We're talking June of 2019, after we went all the way back and got there. And I went to Michael Rubin to try to get my casita, my little camper, and my Bronco 2, which was in my name, my property. I just went to go claim. And I had that DV order against me. And so Joe and I went up, and I wasn't going to go to the door because I have a DV order against me. He didn't. So, you know, I didn't want it. You know, he had to go to the door. I couldn't go to the door and knock because I have a DV. I'm not supposed to approach the house. So he went like a gentleman and knocked on the door, rang the doorbell, and Mike came out. And you know, he shook Joey's hand.
Well, let me say that part.
I had nowhere to stay. Mm-hmm.
You went because you had that domestic violence. I went up. If the guy really loves you, like me, if somebody strange came up to my house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, why you with my lady? But he was that kind, he was like that. So that prove it.
He shook his hand, yeah.
Yeah, and he wanted you to have the camper, but your son Lucas came out.
No,
They say
no.
not enough until after the divorce is over.
Yeah.
And I hear you, why you hate me, Steve. There you go. And let's get into the fact. Your sons go, why you hate me so much? Because you made me just go to church. And it was not that. What fucking, excuse me for my language, but what they was feeding him, all that crap.
Yeah, I heard everything that I said, Lucas, do you want to hear my side now? He comes out, I heard everything I need to hear about you. CYFD, April Jolly, and the Statesers, and Dad, they told me everything that you did. Everything. Everything you did. I don't want to hear nothing you have to say, he said. Wow. Yeah, we're going on 45 minutes. 4545 right there. I gotta put my phone down for a minute because we still have a distance. We're just in 2019, April, May, June. So he wouldn't give me my casita and to say place to stay for me in Delphi, let alone Joey. And Joey was helping me. It would have been a lot easier to have a bigger space to put my stuff in that I was hauling in my car. Anyway, so and the sheriff showed up then when because I wasn't being violent. I was asking for my Bronco and my property. No. So I drove away with Joey in Delphi, and we had to find a campsite, somewhere, because I had no money. And, we slept outside for a lot of it. Delphi slept in Little Burlow, the RAV4. And, yeah. While he had the house and the pets and the property and, CYFD association with the kids, never had to do nothing but hunt me. And he did it mercilessly. He knew everywhere I was going, but that's kind of through Google and whatnot. But anyway. So, then I ended up in Raton in the Meth Lab Mobile Home Park. And I was going to my CYFD appointed appointments, seeing ATV, doing my diligence, trying, even with Joey, but I was drinking, and I wasn't in the best company, and I didn't have money for a place to stay, and Mike wouldn't help me, and I was having a hell of a time. That's where I landed up, in Ed Goss's mobile home park, with Wally and Fred and all of them. And I was not the same person. I'm doing my cannabis and I'm drinking. While I'm drinking, I can't get Michael Rubin out of my head and what's happening to me that I can't get my head around, because any help I got through April Jolly with CYFD, she'd find the bad in me. And when they did their psychological evaluation on me, it said I was narcissist. I was all this stuff I wasn't, but the state was paying the psychologist to say what the state wanted them to say about me, and none of it was true. It was really Mike Ledoux that was the master narcissist here. Go ahead, Joey.
I gotta say something. That's where all this I found out about Mike.
Yes, and
because everybody was attacking you, and I was defending you. And he goes, I'm just attacking because of Mike. I did a lot of favors for Mike, and he took the money and kept it.
And she was his wife,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to attack her and take it out on her. And boy, they did too. But,
and
yeah.
Mike was a man enough to stand up for you.
Yeah, and Mike was spying on me at the Travel Lodge. And, he spied on me everywhere. Everything I did, he was spying on me. He had informants, especially with the police and, even with everybody. So many in the community were watching me and Joey like hawks. High Tree, Garcia, Coca, all of his military buddies and the Jesuit, and it was, here we go again, with the higher powers dominating over those with no power, really. And that's the sad thing, because we could have got to the Skippy. So, fast forward to July of 2019, where I had reported to CYFD and Terrence Cam, my attorney, and to ATV, Tina Lever, and Danielle with Casa for Kids, about my suspicions of Michael Rubin and how there was an incident. And I told each and every one of them, I reported it and asked them to please investigate. I asked CYFD to investigate it. See if Dixie has been sexually active. It's possible. No, we don't want to put her through. That's too traumatizing. Oh my God. But I reported it. My suspicions of Michael Rubin, and I was extensive with my attorney, Terrence Cam, as to Mike's abuse of me for 25 years. And I told the truth, but it was too much for them, obviously. He told me, if you're coming back and you're telling the truth. But as soon as I was doing my videos, Terrence Cam had trouble with those. But you see, here's my experience with Raton, Colfax, Taos County, and all of you judiciary, is that I had a hearing, but you never heard me. It's almost like I recognized, but I myself have not been recognized. Yes. And I was telling you the truth, but you didn't want to hear the truth about Michael Rubin Ledoux. So, I reported it, and at the same time, Carlos Cordova just happened to be, coincidentally, reporting it to April Jolly and CYFD at the same time. That every time they came home from Michael Rubin, and I'm not going to go into another, every time they came home from Michael Rubin's visits, he got to see him way, way more than I did. They kept my kids away until I did my psychological evaluation. Remember, that was a long time. Couldn't talk to him, couldn't see him, nothing. So anyway, yeah, see, I went off another. I'm so sorry. But at the same time, Carlos Cordova was reporting too that when he would have my children over a weekend for a visit, they would come home to him and ask for extra slippery condoms, and ask for inappropriate taking showers with him, and ask for this and ask for that. And Carlos is reporting that to see. I had no idea. Nobody was telling me anything. I didn't even know where Carlos Cordova lived. Though Michael Rubin Ledoux, for a restraining order, whatever, said that I was trying to kidnap my children from their foster father. And I was being accused of all these things behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, I had no idea that they were accusing me of riding by and stalking them with a camera and taking pictures on a bicycle. Or trying to kidnap my children from their foster home. All these things he was accusing me of behind the scenes. It was crazy. He had flying monkeys everywhere on me. Heaven help me.
And there was a lady looked exactly like you because I made a mistake.
And just like Jose said, there was a lady who looked just like me, who's in town, who may have been singing with the church group at Carlos Cordova's home. And they thought it was me stalking my babies. And I was going to kidnap them. Really? Come on. How far am I going to get with that? Really? And it wasn't me. It was this other lady who looked like me. I was with Dr. Reverend John Paul McGarry that day, singing for the old folks in the long term. I wasn't even there. But
and
yet...
she had a red bull too.
Yeah.
A red bull.
Yeah. And so, you know, people look like me or whatever. But I got accused of everything behind the scenes, behind the veil, behind the curtain. She's doing this, she's doing that. My attorney, Terrence Cam, was overloaded at the accusations. And again, I would go to CYFD team meetings. The first time I met Carlos Cordova was at a CYFD team meeting, which I'm going to have one tomorrow. I'm looking forward to. God help me get to the skippy of this. Because it's an atrocity what happened, really. To me and Carlos Cordova, too, totally. Anyway, so I did their psychological evaluation, and like I said before, it was the opposite. But Carlos Cordova and I were reporting our suspicions of Michael Rubin, and nobody would listen. Obviously, nobody heard anything, but yet. On September 9th of 2019, there was a letter composed by Kelly Yancey Davis of Gnosis Therapy, otherwise known as Via de Sol, which I had a therapist there, Ava, and composed a report, to April Jolly of CYFD, saying how my Dixie and my Carrie Ann were saying I did these atrocities to them. That, and I hate to even regurgitate it. My God, I'm going to be sick. I've said it so many times. Anyway, the letter stated that I forced my children to watch pornography on my devices, in my car, whatever. And I bribed them to do it, and that I made them masturbate and have sex with stuffed animals, and oh my God. And a thing with Dixie and the Days in sex education. And they accused me of all these atrocities, but yet I only got a call from my attorney at the time. It was Sandra Barnhard Chavez. And she wasn't another one who just, anyway. They're going to do what they're going to do anyway. Like Tina Lever with Alternative Violence said, they're going to give him everything he wants. And so, she asked me about this thing with the Days in and Dixie. And I said it was just sex education. I didn't stick anything or have oral sex or any kind of sex with my daughter. You might want to recheck that. And I heard nothing more about it. I didn't even see the Gnosis letter or the accusations against me. And nobody told me that Carlos Cordova was incarcerated for supposedly raping her in the first degree. Nobody told me. As the parent, I had every right to know this, and no one said a word to me. Not April Jolly, not my attorney, nobody. They left me totally in the dark about Carlos Cordova. Otherwise, I would have been there immediately. I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. See? But they were setting him up, so they didn't want me to be a part. Because my daughter got a case against CYFD for this very reason, being put in a foster home environment where she would be endangered. Which apparently, if she's raped in the first degree, that's pretty much endangered, wouldn't you say? Let alone another charge that he had. It's so dagnap sad. Because it's such a lie. Because my kids accused me, no investigation, nothing, and they turned around and they accused Carlos Cordova of the very same thing. See a pattern here? See a pattern, right?
Someone got locked up, someone was walking.
Yeah, and a sad atrocity, because they should have investigated me. Had they done their job and arrested me, investigated me, that would have never happened to Carlos Cordova if people had done their jobs in Colfax County. Raton PD, anybody it was reported to, nobody. Not the sheriffs, not the staters, nobody. Okay? If they would have, Carlos Cordova would have never been accused, because we would have got to the Skippy right away. They're liars, my girls. And my ex, Mike, bribed them to do so against me. And it cost Carlos Cordova his freedom and his life, and his wife especially. It's so sad, because we were innocent the whole time reporting. But who got accused of atrocities?
What we got?
We got no equal justice. We got no fair hearings. We got no due process. I didn't even have a public defender for this DV, and I should have. Because it took away my rights as an American citizen. And Carlos Cordova and I could have defended each other right away, had they told me. But instead, they were hunting me and not helping me get housing. And anywhere I went for housing, I got, apply for apartment. If I told them, oh, Lord in heaven, I tried so hard. Please help me say this, because I'm really tired. And this is going to take a long time to upload. But the truth is really hard. And at the same time, Carlos Cordova, I had an attorney, Sarah Montoya. And Carlos Cordova was her client too. For my travel lodge case, where they arrested me for paying my hotel bill. High Tree, yeah, and all of them. And an atrocity. Dr. Reverend John Paul McGarry was there. And
And Sherry has something to do with that shit too.
Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, all of them were on it. Totally. And so I had no idea what was going on. Everything done behind the scenes, you see. It's so sad. Because it cost me my children, my pets, my property, my everything, my dignity, my integrity. They desecrated me and set me up 6 ways from Sunday. Because the truth is here and the truth is here to stay. And this is going out on the etheric. It's like Judge Romero said. You go out, you put it out there, it's out there forever. Well, there you go. Why do you think they need so many data centers? I'm telling the truth, but that doesn't mean I like it. I don't like it at all. Because the truth in my country is it doesn't stand at all. Not when you're telling the truth during hearings and not being heard at all. Where I don't even want to go into the rest of the story because it's so awful. And they extended my DV in a hearing right there with John and Jose, right beside. John was in this. It wasn't. Anyway. Oh, this is really hard. Heavenly, please help me. Lift me so I can archer this truth as it needs to be. Yeah. And the next hearing was right after Delphi died. And I went the day before and I asked the clerk, Ivana, if I had any hearings that were coming up. She said no, right there with Jose and Dr. Reverend John Palmagere. You don't have any hearings coming up, none. And Tina with ATV, you know, I talked to her that day. She said, you have a hearing at 9 in the morning for your DV. Oh, really? I was not informed whatsoever. But I was homeless then too, so you know. Anyway, I was not informed. But I went in and asked, you know, specifically about my First Amendment. That this DV order takes away my First Amendment, my ability to speak or represent or anything on my behalf. And it's taken away my ability to defend myself against Michael Rubin and his accusations of me. And how he keeps going behind the scenes and lying about me and others too, really. But me especially. I need protection against him. Can we put this DV both ways? And she took offense that, you know, and he said, yeah, she murdered my bird, Delphi. And Oliver says, I'm going to regret you said that, sir. You know, because that would have landed me in prison if that really happened. Animal cruelty, a 20-year-old African gray Timney. Yeah. That was a total accident, but yet he accused me of bird murdering. And she extended the order on me, if you can believe that. Because I was asking for my First and Second Amendment rights. Or protection from him. Well, that's what she did. Signed, sealed, delivered. She extended the order on me again. Stay away from your pets, your property, your family. Don't talk to him, don't write him, don't call him, don't fart in his direction. And I didn't. I stayed away. I was forced to again. Otherwise, you're going against your DV when I was never violent to anybody. Threatening I can be. I can be very threatening. But that's in defending. I don't attack people, really. I'll defend myself. But I will not attack people. I'm not like that. And I've tried to defend myself and all my rights have been taken away under this unconstitutional, well, where I could have testified for Carlos Cordova right away and he could have testified for me and this whole thing would have been over. If it had just been that CYFD, court systems, Judge Chavez, Judge Kennelly, Judge Romero, Officer Oliver, Officer Olson, all of the attorneys, CYFD, April Jolly, if anybody would have listened, any at all, this Michael Rubin wouldn't be dead and Carlos Cordova wouldn't have had to take the fall. We could have avoided it all if you got to the Skippy right then and called me in as a witness for Carlos Cordova. Or him for me. because we were supposed to testify for each other. I don't want to get into all the rest because I'll be here all week of the atrocities that were done to me and Joey and Carlos Cordova especially. And yeah, anybody would be in defense. And I've tried to defend myself and tell my truth. But when I tell my truth in court, they don't hear. They hear. I have a hearing, but nobody hears. When in my divorce hearings with Melissa Kennelly, I told her he falsified official police reports and overrode them and said something else that those reports didn't say. That's fraud. He falsely accused me on a DV originally to establish it and get an order against me. And all of it was false, with no evidence whatsoever. But enough to get me exactly where he wanted me. And that's obvious. And I went on for 45 minutes with Officer Olson when I finally got a hearing. And I went on for 45 minutes. He said he didn't get my evidence, and he said he didn't get my subpoena for Carlos Cordova, but Mike had the whole package during that hearing, Officer Olson. Mike had the whole 73 pages of evidence that I sent, and I sent it to you, and yours didn't come back to me. Anyway, I subpoenaed Carlos Cordova, rightfully. And he got it, and I have that on video, which you're going to regret, you know. Because that spilled the beans on everything, just like this is going to, whether you arrest me or not or whatever. Because this is an atrocity what has happened in my country to my First, my Second, and especially my 14th Amendment. My civil rights, my parental rights, everything have been shattered because I tell the truth. It's the only way you hear me. In court, you hear nothing. And social workers are all against me, just looking for any evidence against me. Anything that they can use against me. And yeah, I've had a repeat of how April Jolly has treated me, because behind the scenes she was against me, just like Christopher and Teresa are at CYFD in Raton, New Mexico. And that whole crew. They've been against me from the very beginning. So why should it be any different today? It's not. SSDD. And yeah, I tell the facts as I see. You're telling me something and I believe something totally opposite, because that's what I've got. And I see clearly. I saw through the illusion. And the truth is even harder, believe me you, than saying. But I have to, because you're not going to hear me otherwise. Because how many tears I've cried. And how broken this has made me over the last, going on 8 years now, 7.5 of agony, missing my children, not being a part of their lives, being forced to stay away because the system is broken in every single way. And this just isn't about me. This is collectively. This has happened through the CYFD and state systems for the last at least 150 years with the Native Americans and separation of church and state supposed to be. But, you know, the cavalry murdered the Native Americans because they were standing on their own land. That's the only reason, because they wanted to get rid of them. And it's the same thing today. It's just perpetuated itself, sadly. And, you know, the social workers, the state would take the children away and send them to a Catholic orphanage if you didn't live up to their standards or how they saw. It's too much power in this CYFD. Supposed to be a state, you know, that's church and state together. CYFD taking the kids and giving them to Catholic orphanages and destroying families, because that's what happened to me through April Jolly. And when I had my hearing and Carlos Cordova was going to be my witness, the hearing I was just talking about where I went on for 45 minutes, I spoke to April Jolly the day before on the phone. Pretty sure I have it on recording. Yeah, we'll see. I said, well, Carlos Cordova is going to testify for me tomorrow. She said, yeah, we'll see. All cocky. And sure enough, I didn't get my witness that hearing. At all. See, the judiciary is so broken. That was April Jolly with CYFD who told me she already knew they weren't going to produce my Carlos Cordova as my witness, the one that I needed, the very one who could defend me and I could defend him. So this is how it's come. Judges, attorneys not recognizing the laws that they built in this country, the 14th Amendment, witnesses tampering, breaking their own laws, and Mike breaking the law all over the place and lying about me and slandering me and making my children believe these things, because that's all my kids heard. That's what my kids heard from CYFD and their dad, and that's what they believed. I can't blame them for that. I don't blame my children for it. He led them to this. They believed him, okay? And you believed him too. And if one string gives, they all have to. And the strings gave all over the place because my daughter Carrie Ann redacted that I ever did anything. And that's why you didn't arrest, because you knew damn well it wasn't that way with me and my babies. Not like he did it to him, Michael Rubin. Because he was really the one having watched pornography and all kinds of atrocities. But yet, I told that to Olson in the hearing, and he was the one that really needed to be in prison, not Carlos Cordova or me. And did Olson hear me? He listened, yeah, he heard, but did he really hear me? In my hearing, no. Nothing. And I was denied everything in that so-called hearing. And there's so many cases involved with this, it's not even funny. It's so sad, you see. Sad, you see. Sad, you see. And Michael Rubin didn't have to die like he did, but I didn't have nothing to do with it. I wasn't even there, man. So. Yeah, and I'm so tired of it. I truly am. I'm on 111. It's been a long journey, and that's not even the beginning of it. How they wouldn't call me as a witness for Carlos Cordova. I could have got him free. And definitely them not allowing him to testify for me. And I lost my children over it and everything. These broken systems I got. That's why I came. As a system buster, I guess, because it is what it is. It just is what it is. Confirmation. And now, if as long as I don't do my videos or expose them, I'm good to go, man. As long as I bend to their systems and their little box that they want to try to put me in, when all they want to do is find things against me. And I'm maintaining sobriety for the best part of me. And I have clarity, and I see back 2020. And it's all happening all over again because Michael Rubin burned in a fire accidentally. The fire was accidental. It's good to know my kids weren't involved. Though I had my suspicions because I know my children. But I'm glad it didn't happen that way. I'm sad their dad had to die. I really am. I didn't wish that on him. I did say in my video, you're already dead. You're already in the grave. I did say that on my video. And I saw it, but I didn't put him there. I did not put him there. My hand wasn't even close to that fire. So, I told the truth. You see, they listen when I do my videos. When they hear me in court, they don't hear me at all. But they hear me when I say my videos and they want to use it against me, you see? Because I tell the truth. With integrity. It's really hairy, but that's what it is. Of course, I'm going to see CYFD as my enemy because April Jolly headed it all. She headed it all. And really funny, she would know that the judge wouldn't let me call my witness. And, she refused to testify at some point, I believe. She helped incarcerate Carlos Cordova. I understand it anyway. And it should have went all the way to the Supreme Court, Carlos Cordova's case. Let alone his key witness. Should have been heard at least, and him for me. But this was denied because it was inconvenient, wasn't it? The inconvenient truth at 1444. an inconvenient truth, well, that's it. Because it exposes all of them. Sadly, I didn't want it to be this way, and people know I'm telling the truth, too. Otherwise, I couldn't get their goat, could I? If it wasn't true, it wouldn't bother you. And I know I've been lied to. My kids are great. They're in a hotel in Springer, New Mexico with no permanency and trying to get through school. They're not fine. And they lost their dad tragically. That's true. That's not fine. I pray for my children. I do. I truly, truly do. I pray for all of us souls in this mess, because this is what it's come to. And I pray for everybody, I really do. Those of us who've been led into darkness by Michael Rubin Ledouce. There's many of them. We're not alone here, guys. Many of us have been led in by lies. Which is exactly why this is all collapsing. You can't stand on a lie. You just can't. I mean, you can, but in the end, you can't. And I've had to admit my picadillos. With my alcoholism, hey, I've done some pretty... But I found myself in the darkness. I really did. I had to. As Carl Jung would say, I had to go into the shadows totally to find me. I didn't even know who I was when I left Mike Ledoux. Totally. I was lost in a mask, being the load-bearing beam in the house that kept everything up and clean. Yeah, when I got out, wow, it's totally different, I'll tell you what. But I found me. And it is the end. And it's going to be... This is, you know... It's been such a long journey with COVID country and AIDS and HIV. And the bigger picture that's happening here that most people don't see. And they went along with it, CYFD. And, you know, the staters and the sheriffs and everybody who knew. There are those who knew what was going on. And they didn't want me to know nothing. That's how rotten. Just living off my energy, my luge, I guess. And they've made a lot of money on me, apparently. I've seen nothing of it. But it's okay. I need a siesta before the full moon tonight because I'm on 118. Exactly. That's a long ride. Talking about the Colfax County judiciary systems and how broken. Especially me. They make all these laws. They take oaths to stand by them. Even the officers, even Mike, took an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and especially domestically. Well, only those who are enemies of our Constitution would go against it. So obviously, they're enemies of our Constitution because they... Confirmation. Denied 2 witnesses as witness. Keys, that had the keys for freedom for both of us. And they denied both of us. And that's an atrocity. In my country, let alone this DV with my First and Second Amendments, whatever. I have a right to say my perspective, how I see it, how I experience it. I can't say how you experienced it. But this is how I've experienced, walked it, talked it, and I've reiterated it. And I'm trying to stay on a timeline, but it's very difficult to do. I wrote it. I submitted it to my attorney. My timeline of all of the judiciary atrocities and how they, this time, they were against me before we even had the hearing. They had it all figured out. They already had labels on me and whatnot on me before they... And My attorney, Amanda, bless her heart and soul, she's trying. And she recognizes what she's up against too here. Poor thing. Yeah. And I don't know when I'm going to get my golden ticket. I keep expecting it, but I'm patient. Patient as chips. This is what the Holy Spirit has driven me to do today, is speak of this experience. Because it's been an atrocity in my country, because I know if it's happened to me, it's happening to others too. I'm not alone here. That's what's so sad for my country. All the systems are broken all the way up, as I see. It's an absolute atrocity. In my country, 'tis of thee, supposed to be sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Yeah, and it's not. And I stand for my country and her people. Us, like Carlos Cordova, who suffered under a system unnecessarily so they could have it winning. Well, to the victors goes the story. Whoever wins the war gets to write her story. And this is just my story. It may not be your story, like I said. You may see it totally differently than me. But I didn't abandon anybody. Okay? And whatever you say about me comes back your way, Sherry Trevino. Yeah, because you didn't have your facts straight at all. I do. And Sherry Trevino, you were in this case with Carlos Cordova since 2020, May. And you could have saved that man. But you backed Michael Rubin and Dixie. And that's really sad. Apparently you're transferred now. You're not there anymore, and you have a good DA, Stephen. Maybe he'll listen. I don't know. I don't know where that's leading me, but I can tell that Stephen, he's more than willing to drop it, no problem. I've been through hell and back. I think he knows that. I'll have to maybe talk to him tomorrow. I don't mind talking to a DA, man. He knows what he's talking about, and I got the facts and I have the evidence. So we'll see where this leads me. I got a report to file too, on all of you. But I'm putting it out in advance on YouTube. It's a long listen, but it's a long story at 12222. And for those who are listening, I appreciate it. I really do, because this shouldn't happen to anybody in our country. Nobody. And her children. All of us who suffered under these CYFD systems. Good friends of mine and people. And Michael Rubin Ledoux is a perfect example of how they can use it against you. And he was a military dude, so he was tough. But he didn't kill me. It hasn't killed me yet. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I'm stronger in spirit. I'm strong in the Holy Spirit and the truth, like Yeshua said. And again, I hate to compare the two, because I'm not really, but I'm a rose. You see that? A rose. And with a flame. How's that for you? Yeah. And I forgive my children, I do. I forgive the systems for believing in Michael Rubin Ledoux. They were led too. Or complicit. And it's really sad. Because innocent people paid the price for this, just like Jesus, for telling the truth. The whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me heavenly. You see, this is why they had the hearings at night on Yeshua, behind the scenes, in the middle of the night, over the Sabbath, and it's a full moon tonight. And this is truth come to light, even if you don't like it. But that's just the top of the pyramid, we'll put it, of the atrocities done to me at 2424. And Carlos Cordova, and it spreads out. It affects everybody. And Yeshua told the truth too. And look what they did to him. I'm just glad they didn't get me, dudes. And the truth will set you free. My children know this. I love them, and I pray for everybody let in. I truly do. In Yeshua's name, I humbly pray. A new way, a new way, a new way today.